So this is vector data structure. So in vector data structure, we are going to see what are the various kinds of topology and how topology acts upon in this particular scenario. Okay. Okay. So in a vector data structure, I would like to share about a small vector data model which we have missed in the last class. I told you I will tell you in the next class. It is called as spaghetti data model. Spaghetti is actually a Western dish actually. So what the dish will be doing is that it will actually it's similar to a noodles dish. Okay, you guys see noodles, right? But in spaghetti it will be a combination of several long lines available. Okay, spaghetti is nothing but noodles, long sized noodles, long lengthed noodles. Okay, so why they are telling this model as spaghetti model is that, so initially the polygon shape was not available in the vector data structure. Okay, only points and lines were available. Okay, so only points and lines were available. Okay, so what they have done is a combination of several lines combined together. They have represented a polygon by means of several combined lines together. Okay, so that model will not interchange with each other. It will not intercollide with each other. Okay, so that model is said to be known as a spaghetti model. Okay, so in the vector data structure, okay, these components or these if for example a continuous building or a river or a road, it has been, everything is being given in a long lined structure. Okay, or many short lines structure together, but it doesn't interact or intercollide with each other. So that kind of model is called as a spaghetti model. Okay, so when this model is being converted into a programming language, okay, so when the programmer needs to develop a code based upon these data, okay, so it was a little hard for the programmer to give a description or to easily give those entity as a real-time model before the discovery of polygon vector data models. Okay, so what they have done is they have created an unstructured vector data. Okay, they have created a unstructured vector data with the spaghetti model. It is called as cartographic spaghetti. Okay, it is called as cartographic spaghetti, where it consists of several lines of combinations together. So even a polygon is being mentioned, or a polygon is being represented by means of multiple combinations of line formats. Okay, so basically topology, why we are using topology is that we are using n number of entities and n number of objects combined together in order to provide a single gist map. Correct. So for example, if we are having a combination of several buildings together and all the buildings are interconnected, okay, so while we are segregating each building in a separate image and we are combining all the images together, then it should give us a perfect shape of the building, right, the overall building structure. So if there is any miscalculation or if there is any random space between those buildings or between those images, then that is an error. Okay, so that is an error where it is the real-time spatial data is not correctly projected in the where the real-time data has been is not correctly projected in the gist map. Okay, so topology helps us to neglect those errors or identify those errors and give us a proper and pure data. Okay, so we will now see what is actually topology does and what are the various errors that is possible by means of vector data structures. Okay, this is the image which we have seen in the first unit. What is the difference when we are using topology and what is the difference when we are not using topology. So in first image you can see that purple and cream color and pink color, all three images are let's assume as three different entities. So when the three different entities are combined together, there is not any unnecessary gaps or there is not any overlap or anything like that. So there is no overlap and there is no underlap also. So that is called as perfect topology editing. Okay, and in second model you can see that there is a gap between the pink shaped structure polygon and the cream shaped polygon. So that is an error. Okay, and that error should not be there in a gist map, because when we are projecting the entire globe in a satellite image or in a gist image, the data should be perfect. Else what will be considered is even that empty space will be considered as some other object. or some other entity? Yes or no? Yes. So now the various types of error that is possible in topological editing is, please note down these errors. These are the various types of errors which are possible in vector data structures. Okay. So by means of topology, we are trying to resolve all these. Errors. These are called as digitizing errors actually. So the first one is dangles. Dangles are where the two lines doesn't meet each other. Okay. So the two lines doesn't meet each other. Actually, it should meet. So there are actually, let's assume the points A, B, and C. So this is point A. This should be point B, and this should be point C. So as these two are not connected together, it has given us two simple lines. Okay, so these are called as dangle errors. Okay, separate errors. And next one is switchbacks. Switchback is that again here it is not connecting at the same point, but what happens is it has come towards the left and the upper line has come towards the right. So it has not met in the proper line. So those lines has been extended. Okay, so this is also one type of error. So these guys should have met in the B location itself. So instead they have gone far and they have created the points B and C and then move on to D. Can you understand? So this is switchbacks. So first one is dangles, second one is switchbacks, and third one is knots. Knots in the sense it creates a loop. Okay, it creates a loop-like structure. So this is said to be a knot. If there is a knot in that displayed spatial format, then it is called as a knot error. Okay, so dangles, switchbacks, and knots. Okay, and knot is where it's like it is not like a loop. It is similar to a loop, but knots it's like a roller coaster ride. Okay, so it goes from one direction, goes to the top, and again comes back. It doesn't interconnect with each other. But whereas loops, it is combined. It has an interconnection with each other. Okay, so in loops you can see that one particular circle over in the middle, it keeps on combining with each other. So that is a loop, and that is a difference between a loop and a knot. Okay, and the last two are overshoots and undershoot. Okay, so overshoot is that when the two is line segments, so part A and part B, everything is being collided in front. Okay, it has been combined more often, and it is not met in the exact point B location. Okay, so the first line and second line has to be met in the middle point B, but as there is an overlap, it is called as overshoot error. Okay, and the vice versa, opposite character, if it has not been overlapped, if it is underlapped, then it is called as undershoots. Okay, so these are the various types of errors. And the last one is slivers, which we have seen in the previous example, in topological example. So slivers is that when the two polygons are combined together, there is a space or it is not combined perfectly. This error is possible when the polygons are not shaped in a proper manner. So when these polygons are not shaped in a proper manner, then the slivers error is possible. Okay, so these are the various types of 7 types of digitizing errors: dangles, switchbacks, knots, loops, overshoots, undershoots, and slivers. Okay, so this is what topological data structure is all about. And in topological data structure, we will go in detail right now. Actually, first of all, let's see what is actually a topology. Okay, a topology is a mathematical procedure, okay, that describes how features are spatially related. Okay, how the features are spatially related and ensures data quality of the spatial relationship. Okay, so it ensures the data, how the data has been quality, how the quality of data is, how it has been combined together, or how it has been merged together. So these kinds of data are being clubbed together by means of topology. Okay, so this is the main part of topology in order to verify the completeness of the spatial combinations. Okay, actually topological relationships include 3 basic elements. Actually, it includes 3 basic elements. So one is connectivity, another one is contiguity, and another one is containment. So these are the three components which is available in the topological relationship. So we will see what is what. Okay, so before seeing that connectivity, contiguity and containment, we will see another model called as, within this topology itself, Tiger model. Okay, there is one model called as Tiger model. So kindly note the expansion of this Tiger model. The expansion of Tiger model is topologically integrated geographic encoding and referencing. Okay, so this is actually a repeated question in your university, so kindly mark this one: topologically integrated geographic encoding and referencing. Okay, so this is called as Tiger model. Okay, it is one of the earliest applications in topology. Okay, and these were initially created before the polygon structures, so like similar to a spaghetti data model. Okay, but in this Tiger database, what happens is the points are called as 0 cells and the lines are called as 1 cells. Okay, so like for example, if we are connecting a graph, then the lines or edges are called as 1 cells and the points or the edges are called as 0 cells. Okay, the lines or 1 cells, the lines are nothing but the connectivity between 2 points or the vertices. Okay, so 0 cells are the edges or the points. Okay, and areas are mentioned as 2 cells, so they are marking the value as 0, 1 and 2 points, lines and polygons. Okay, so here what happens is each one cell means the line cell. Okay, the line cell is being represented in a direct line only, which starts from one point and ends from another point. Correct. So every line has a starting point and an ending point. Correct. So we will be calling this line as arc. Okay, we will be calling this line as arc, and that arc will be represented by the help of starting point and ending point. Can you understand? Okay, the arc will be represented as starting point and ending point. Okay, and then next one I will show to you in a diagrammatic representation itself. And then next one, each 2 and 0 cells share of the information of the 1 cell associated with it. Like for example, if it is a point, means we will go for 0 cell, that is from option to 2 option. Okay, if it is a polygon, means then the polygon which is present to the left of the line and polygon which is present to the right of the line, that will be mentioned. Okay, so this is the topologically integrated geographic encoding and referencing technique. I will show you the example itself, don't worry. And the main advantage is that the user can easily identify an address on either the right side or the left hand side. So that is how we are segregating the data actually in data structure. So this is one example I will tell you. So here A, B, C, D, E, F are points. Okay, and AD, BE and CF, these are lines, and AB, BC, DE, EF, these are also lines. Okay, and area 1 and 2 are polygon areas. So 1 is a particular area and 2 is a particular area. Okay, so in previous point we have seen that if we are taking a 1 cell, okay, then we can represent it in 2 manner. Correct? So here if we are taking the line B and E, I hope everybody is listening. If we are taking the line B and E, okay, if we are mentioning it as x and y coordinates or 2 points, means we can give the xy coordinate of B and we can give the xy coordinate of E. So this is one way of representing. Okay, else, so from and to option, so towards the left option we have the polygon 1 and towards right option we have polygon 2. So this is one option, left and right option, for representing a line spatial data. Okay, so whereas if you want to represent a point, means you can actually start using a like for example, if I want to represent the value A, okay, if I want to represent the value A, means what I will do is I will either represent the value of A through x comma y, xy coordinates. Okay, else what I will do is towards the left hand side I have AD, one arc is there, one line is there, and towards right of the point AB is there. So in left hand side AD is there, right hand side AB is there. So I can represent in that manner also. Can you understand? Okay. So this is how we are representing points, lines and polygons actually. And I'll show you another example. Yeah, students, I hope you can see the screen right now. It's actually MS Paint only. I will just draw and show you how it has been explained. So that will be easy for you guys. Okay. So under this topic only, all the connectivity, contiguity and containment comes under. Okay. So here I will tell you how a data has been represented. Okay. So here, for example, let's take a line, for example. Okay, so let's assume this is a combination of several lines combination together. Okay, this is also a network topology only. So what we will be doing is we are going to mark the arcs alone. Okay, so these areas are points and these areas are lines. Okay, let's assume like that. So let's assume we will mention the points first. This is 10, this is 11, this is 12. Okay, as it is a paint, I couldn't write fluently. Kindly adjust. This is 13. I hope you guys can see the screen and it is understandable. This is 15 and this is 16. Okay, so these are the various points which we are having. Okay, so now when we are taking when we are taking the lines into consideration, 1, 2, 3. Okay, wait, take a different color. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so there are 6 lines and 7 points together. Okay, so how are we going to mention this in a tabular format, or how are we going to represent this data in a table structure or in a data structure? Okay, I will tell you that. Just a second. Okay, I hope you guys can see the diagram. Okay, so now how this is being represented in a table structure I will show you. Okay, so let's assume the first column is for arc. Okay, so everyone please listen carefully. Then the second one will be the from node and to node. It's actually very simple only. Okay. I hope it's visible. Okay. So now how many arcs are available? Totally 6 arcs are there, right? So we will take those 6 arcs into consideration. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so these are the 6 arcs, and how are we going to mention those 6 arcs? Okay, so let's take for example the first element 1. So this is the first element 1, correct? So this first element, this first arc 1, from where it is starting and where it is ending. So it is starting from the node 10 and it is ending in the node 11. Can you understand now? So the data which will be represented in the database will be and 11. Okay, so these will be the left and right node or the from and to node for every arc. Okay, so now can anyone respond in the chat box what will be the from node and to node for the arc number 2? For line number 2, what will be the from node and to node? Can anyone post their answers in the chat box? Okay, D11. I'm asking for the left and right combinations. So you can write it as 10, 11 or 11, 12, 12, 13, any kind of value. Excellent, good. So the, okay, good. So now you understand, right? So how the value is for from node and to node is being mentioned for every line or an arc. Okay. So here the value for 2 will be 11 and 12. Similarly, for the value 3, what will be for 3? It will be 11 and 13. Okay, right? So now what will be the value for, can anyone write the answers for the arc number 6? What will be the from node and to node for arc number 6? Very good students. For 4 it will be 13 and 14. Again for 5 it will be 14 and 15, and for last one you guys are correct, the answers will be 14 and 16. Okay, is this clear? So this is how we are representing an arc node topology with list. Okay, is that clear? So this is how a data is being represented. Okay, so this is for representing a line. Okay, how will you represent a combination of points or something like that? Okay, so if it is a combination of points, then what will be done is, I'll tell you. Okay, so let's assume okay, so let's assume that this is a line, okay, or this is a curved line. Okay, so here let's assume these are the so let's assume these are the points available in those lines. Okay, so as it is a combination of several points together, so let's assume this is how we are representing it as vector data. Okay, so how these data will be represented? Okay, So it will be actually represented by means of an x and y axis. Okay. So each coordinate will be represented by means of a latitude and longitude value or an x and y value. Okay. So for example, so if you are taking this A into consideration, so if we are taking this point A into consideration and we want to plot that mean, so that point will be represented with the help of an xy axis or an latitude and longitude axis. So this is how we are representing the data in database. Okay. So the representation of the direction of the arc will be mentioned separately. Okay. So here we will take into the consideration as the nearby streets. So let's assume this is a street 1. Okay, I really hope it would be a class as soon as possible. Okay, this is hard to type in a paint, and this is, let's assume this is street 2. I'll keep it as S2. Okay, and this is the node which we are trying to plot. Okay, so this is how a pointed area will be represented. Okay, is that clear? So we are taking into consideration into two streets, street 1 and street 2. Okay, so this is how the node interaction is being shown. Okay, how it has been shown in a latitude and longitude process, or it will be having two coordinates like x and y. Okay, the latitude coordinate and longitude coordinate, similar to this from two node. Okay. Okay, so now we will move on to the next segment, polygons, how the polygons are being represented. I hope you students have understood so far. Okay, so let's assume this is one area which we are going to represent it in a data format. Okay, so how am I going to mark the polygons? I'll show you. So let's assume this area, okay, this entire area is mentioned as B. Okay, this entire polygon is mentioned as B. This polygon is mentioned as D, and this is polygon C, and all the outer area is mentioned as A. Okay, see, all the outer area is mentioned as A. So this is how a polygon topology looks like. Okay, so now we are going to mark all the edges or all the lines which are combining together. Okay, so let's assume this is line 1, this is line 2. Why I am dividing line 1 and line 2? Because there is one intersection over here, correct? So this is line 1. This entire part will be line 1 because there is no other interconnection. Okay, so this L shaped will be line number 2. Okay, and this will be line number 3. Okay, and this will be line number 4, and this interconnected middle will be line number 5, and this will be line number 6. Okay, students, can you understand how I am putting these lines or how I am numbering these lines? If anybody can't understand, please tell me, please put in the chat box to explain it again. I will tell how I am putting these lines, because if you don't understand this, it is very hard to move further. So if anyone has a doubt how I am putting these numbers for these lines, please do message in the chat box. Should I repeat again or move further? students? Because based upon this only we will be having the further questions in tabular column method and all. Okay, so it's better I will tell it again, so no problem. So there are actually what you can see is, and now repeat again. Okay, super, thank you. So what you guys can see is the outline structure is there, right? A square box is there. So it is a square box. So how are we segregating the lines or the boundaries? Okay, we are marking the boundaries actually. So the line which is covering that polygon is being taken place. Okay, so here this one, okay, it is starting from here, coming all the way over here, coming all the way over here, and ends over here. So from this, all this yellow part will be your line number 1. The complete line will be 1. Okay, and again similarly for line number 2, from this pink area till this pink area, until there is an interconnection, you will be segregating into a separate part. Okay, so this is called as a line. This is second line, okay, or second arc. Okay, and again similarly the third line. So third line, it starts from over here and there is an intersection in here itself. So this is line number 3. Okay, for moving on for line number 4, again there is an interconnection over here. So this is line number 4 and starting from here and going from here. Okay, so this will be line number 5. Okay, and finally this area starting from over here all the way through this area till this area, this intersection, this is line number 6. So we have considered this number as line number 6. So this is how we are marking the boundaries or marking the lines of the boundaries of the polygons. Okay, so this is how we are going to represent this data in a topological database format. So that's why we are marking all these lines so in this stage. Okay, so hope you guys understood now. So now can we see how the data is being represented in a tabular format? Okay, so this is our table or diagram or polygon diagram, correct? So I remove all the additional markings. Okay, so this is our polygon topology so far. Okay, so now how are we going to mention this one in a topological database or a tabular format? Okay, that's what we are going to see. So here either we could take the polygons into consideration, okay, and then we could mark the surrounding boundaries together. That is one way of representation. Or we could take the boundaries in common and we could see the left and right polygons covering to it. Okay, so I'll show you. So we will see the both the manners also, don't worry. So here already arc 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is available. So we will use this itself. So instead of the left node and right node, what we will be having is we will be having the left polygon and right polygon. Okay, we will take that into consideration. So obviously it will go from left to right only. Okay, so this is left to right polygon. So I will show you how it is done. So here the area 1, we are going to take 1 into consideration. So 1 is a huge line. Okay, so we are seeing both the sides, the that side what is available and this side what is available. Okay, so you can see that left hand side of that 1 A is available. Okay, and right hand side of 1 it is B available. So the answer will be A and B. That's all. That's simple. Okay, so this is how we are representing the data in database format. Okay, okay, so now can you give me the answer for arc number 6? What is the left polygon and right polygon of arc number 6? You can type the answers in the chat box, students. Good. Is it DB or BD? Is it BD or DB? Good answers. Okay, so correct. So the right answer is option. The left polygon is B, the right polygon is B. Very good. Okay, that's because, so this is the arc 6. So in arc 6, the left hand side is B and the right hand side is D over here. So left is B and right is D. Correct. So similarly for C, sorry, not for C, for the variable 5. Okay, for the arc 5, the left hand side is D, the right hand side is C. So for 5, the answers will be D and C. Got it? And similarly for other values, for 3 it will be C, in left hand side it will be B. So as you are taking this side into consideration, from this is the top part and the left part, right? So here the left part will be C and the right part will be B over here. Okay, so for number 3 it will be C and B. Okay, and similarly for number 2, the top part will be A and the bottom part will be C. So A and C will be the answer. And finally for 4, left hand side is B and right hand side is C. So this is how our data is being represented. Okay, this is how we are representing a polygon area into a database format. This is by means of when we are considering arc as a main topology. Okay, so when we are considering arc, we are mentioning this database, this data structure. Okay, so if we are not considering the arc and we are just considering the polygons, then what will happen? Then how the tables will be mentioned. Okay, so these are some important questions. These problems are possibly asked in university exams also. So please do understand carefully. I hope you guys understood this tabular column so far. Yes. If any doubts, you guys can stop me now itself. If any point you can understand, sir, how this for 4, how B and C came, sir. Even if you have some doubt like that, you can message me in the chat box. Okay. Else we will move on to the next one. Okay. Okay. So for the same diagram, now we will see how we are going to mention it with the help of polygon and arc list alone. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. So instead of arc, we will be having polygon, and instead of polygons, left and right polygon, we will be having arc list. Now we will take into consideration all the several polygons alone. So A, B, C and D. So these are the 4 polygons available for us, right? So we will take into this consideration. Okay, so now looking for the area 1. Okay, so looking for the area 1. So what is the area 1? Okay, so now for every polygon we are going to mention all the arcs which is getting connected with that one. Okay, so here this all the yellow color part, okay, all this yellow color part is coming under A. Okay, so what are the arcs that is touching those A part? So here 1 is been touching over here, 2, and again I couldn't say 3 exactly. Okay, so 1 and 2 is being touching this A part completely, correct? So this entire 1 and this 2, so this is the arcs which are touching with A. So when we are coming under arc list, so the values will be 1 comma 2, that's all. Okay, so these are the lists coming under arc list when it compares to the lines or the arcs which is combining with the polygon A alone. Okay, so now we are moving on to the next one. So let's go for B. Okay, so this is B. Okay, so now which are the lines which is getting connected with B? Okay, so B here it is connecting with 1 completely. Okay, until here 1 is being connected, and this area 3 is being connected, and this area 6 is being connected, and this area 4 is being connected. So I can say that except 2 and 5, all the remaining numbers are being connected with B. Am I right? Okay, so all the remaining elements are combined with B. So for B, the arc list will be 1, followed by 3, 6, and 4. It can be in any order. Okay, so this order I have put in the mention that we have started from 1, we have gone to 3, and then we have gone to 6, and then closed with 4. Okay, see these are the arc list of B part. And next one, for C, what will be the arc? Okay, so for C you can see that this perimeter area alone you have to concentrate. Okay, this perimeter area alone you have to concentrate. So here it is 4, here it is 5, here it is 3, and this area is 2. So the answer is 2, 4, 5 and 3, or 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the arc list for C is 2, 4, 5 and 3. These are the arc list for C. And the last one, for D. Okay, so what are all the various outlines or various lines available? Okay, so this entire area is being covered using the 6 parameter. Okay, the 6 arc is covering this many area, and this area is being covered using the 5 arc. So 5 and 6 is enough for covering the area D. So 6 comma 5. Okay, is this clear, students? This is how a polygon is being represented by means of arc list. The first example, the previous example which we have seen is taking the arc into consideration and determining the left and right polygon which is available to those arcs. But the same image is being represented by means of polygons. Okay, so in exams be cautious whether they are asking to represent by means of arc or by means of polygon. If they are telling to represent by means of polygon means then arc list is alone enough. If they are trying to telling you to represent using arc means then you should put a tabular column with both left polygon and right polygon. Okay, so this is what has to be done. Yes. Aishwarya, can you mute your mic, ma? Okay, so now another example. So I will give you a simple diagram. Okay, what you guys do is you guys try to give me the arc list alone. Okay, no need for left polygon and right polygon and all. I will give you a simple diagram. You just give me the arc list for all the 4 polygons. Okay, so watch carefully. I hope it is visible. Let all the borders been same color. Okay, so this is your given question for now. Okay, so now what will be your task is I will give you the areas also. So this is A. Okay, and again this will be B. Okay, similar to that, this will be C, this will be D, and this will be E. Okay, and the values will be, so these are the polygons. Okay, you can start calculating the arc list for all the polygons, ma. Sorry, I didn't see the chat box. LB, you have asked a doubt. Why not B to C for R3? Okay. For R3, why not B to C? Okay. Sylvia, I hope you are listening, ma. Okay. So let's take into consideration of 1 and 3 simultaneously. Sorry, students, I'll just explain this doubt and we will move back to the question. So in 1, as we are considering left and right, we have taken A and B, right? So the top part is taken as A and the bottom part is taken as B. So we are considering A as left and B as right. So here we are considering top to bottom situation. So that's why for 3 I have considered top as C and bottom as B. So that's why we are considering C to B and it is not in the reverse order. Okay, ma? So compare 3 with 1, you will understand. So if 1 is A and B, then 3 is C and B. Okay, Paka, super. Okay, so this question. So you can start calculating the arc list for every polygon A, B, C, D and E. Okay. So I will give you the arc list alone right now. I have mentioned the 6 over here and 7 over here. Okay, so these are the 7 areas. If you want, I will highlight it for you guys. If you have calculated all the arc list, you can type your answers in the chat box. Even the arc list is not needed for A also. I just need the arc list for B, C and D, E. Just type me the arc list for B, C and D, E. So this is your diagram. Okay. It will be better if everyone types all the answers together and then print it out. Okay, good. Hariharan, Soumya, Selvi. Soumya again has given for B as well as C. Hariharan, Shanbhaga Priya, good. Ishika, good. Vasudeva Sai, Hariharan again, good. Others also do participate, because with this problem we can understand that how a polygon is being represented in a data model, okay, database format. If you guys have any doubts also, you can clarify with me now, right now. Leelavati, excellent. Right, all the answers good. Okay, okay, okay. So we will move on to the answers right now. So you guys can see the options. Okay. Okay, so this is the area, and first one we are going for B. I'll tell you what is what answer. Okay, so here the area B, which all area has been covering over areas, 1 is covering over here, 4 is covering over here, 6 is covering over here, and 3 is covering over here. The same answer which we have got for the previous example. Okay, so correct. So the right answer for B is 1463. Very good, students, correct answers. Okay, and then next we are going for C. For option C, again here 2, it is 3, again 5 and 4. The same answer as previous example. Okay, so 2, 3, 5, 4 is the right answer. Okay, again correct, students. And some have got 2, 4, 5 alone. Okay, so 2, 4, 5, 5 is starting over here and ending over here. So from this line segment it is 3 only. Okay, can you see my mouse pointer? Okay, so the answer is 2, 3, 5 and then 4. You have to cut the line segments actually. Okay, that's why we are having 4 arcs, 2, 3, 5, 4. Good try, students, not a problem. Next one is D. This is very, very important. Okay, so before having D, we will first move on to E. So E is looks like an island, correct? So the only border which has been connected to that E is 7. So everybody has given the right answer for E is 7. Okay, means 7 alone. Okay, so now coming back to D. So for D, everybody has given 5, 6, 7, 5, 6 and 7, but I have given an extra value called as 5, 6 and 0, 7. Okay, so 5, 6 and 0, 7. So can anybody guess why I have given that 0? Yeah, I'll tell you. So D, first of all, here it has been 5. Okay, so the area connected over here is 5, and then it's moving on to this structure. So this is 6. So 5 and 6 are the only components which was matched in the last example. Okay, but there is an island-like structure which is built inside the D itself. So that is also taken into consideration as 7. So the answer given is 5, 6 and 7. Correct. Okay, but one thing is, this complete area doesn't belong to D. Okay, there is a hole in between D, which is the island called E. So as it gives an empty space between the D, okay, so that's why we are mentioning the value as 0. Okay, so when there is a polygon within another polygon, and when we are mentioning the outer polygon, okay, we should also mention the value called as 0. Okay, the 0 before the 7 actually indicates that there are arc 7 creates an island in the polygon of D. Okay, this is why I have told you guys to work out on this experiment, and this is why I have told 0 comes whenever there is a polygon within a polygon and it makes a whole of a external polygon. Okay, is this clear, students? Can you understand the concepts? Any doubts so far, students? Hariharan, Selvi, Ilavati, any doubts? Shenbaka Priya, Soumya. Okay, good students, very good. Okay, then we will move on to the next concept. So in vector data structure, the same line, points and polygon is being mentioned in a data structure format. So each is being represented in a one or more types. So like for example, if it is a point, it will be mentioned through XY axis or through latitude and longitude. If it is a line, then it will be mentioned to either from point and to point or the XY coordinates itself. XY coordinate in the sense from XY coordinate to XY coordinate. Okay, so for three representations, 1 point and 2 lines, and finally for polygon also we can represent in 2 formats. What are they? One is using the polygon, taking polygon into consideration, and another one is taking arc into consideration. So that's how we can mark the areas of a polygon and represent it in a tabular structure. Okay, so this is what topology is all about, and there are 3 components available in this topology. Okay, so one is connectivity, contiguity and containment. Okay, so I'll tell you what is those things. Actually, connectivity is nothing but information about linkages among spatial objects. Okay, the linkages among the spatial object is called as connectivity. Okay, and contiguity, what is contiguity? CONTIGUITY. What is contiguity is? It is the information about neighboring spatial objects. Okay, I repeat, connectivity is the information about linkages, how it has been linked among spatial objects. Okay, like for example 2 or 3 shapes together. Okay, and the linking information is called connectivity. Okay, and the information about the neighboring spatial objects, the neighboring information is called as contiguity. Okay, and finally the information about inclusion of one spatial object. Okay, the inclusion of one spatial object with another spatial object, combination of 2 objects. Okay, that is called as containment. Okay, these are the 3 terms which we have to understand. It can be asked, it cannot be asked separately for 2 mark, but combined together it may be asked for a single 2 mark question. Okay, so this is all about arc topology, line topology and polygon topology. Okay, so with this we will be completing vector data structure, and in next class we will be seeing what is vector and raster data types. I mean, what is the advantages and disadvantages of vector and raster data structure, and we will be seeing what are the various encoding sequence available in raster data structure. And then in the last class we will be seeing what are tin and grid data models. Okay, so we still have 20 minutes more, so we will start with the basics of what is a raster data structure. Okay, so as we have seen in the vector data structure, okay, vector data structure is being segmented into or represented as points, lines and polygons, correct? So whereas in raster data structure we have been representing the spatial data by means of grid format or in cell by cell encoding format only. Okay, So here cell structure, we know that every cell will be having the individuality or individual data about the cell alone. So based upon that, we are what to say, we are representing the data or we are converting the data into database format by three segments. Okay, one is cell by cell encoding, one is run length encoding, and quad tree encoding. Okay, but other than this, there is also some other topics also which I will also which is not given in your syllabus, but we will discuss it anyway. So it will come under a technique called as compression technique. Okay, compression in the sense when a huge data, like for example a data or spatial data of 100 kilometers. Okay, the spatial data of 100 kilometers has to be represented within a centimeter, 1 centimeter square data. Okay, 1 kilometer square of spatial data has to be represented within a 1 centimeter square data. Okay, so it is not that simple to represent all the available data in a single cell, right? So in order to do that, we will be compressing the data. Okay, so that is called as compression technique. Okay, there are actually four types of compression techniques available. There are all the four techniques we will see, don't worry. And those techniques are actually run length encoding, okay, block encoding, chain encoding, quad tree encoding, and then here cell by cell encoding. Okay, so here today we will start with cell by cell encoding and run length encoding, and quad tree encoding if possible we will see. Others we will move on to the next webinar session, don't worry. Okay, this is about raster data structure. So here we are going for cell by cell encoding. Cell by cell encoding means each and every cell is being individually encoded, or encoded in the sense, for example, okay, so here let's assume this is the best example now. Okay, so let's assume this is one cell or one landscape area where the cell it is being given in grid format and cell by cell format. Okay, so it's obvious that all the marked colors, all the yellow colors are areas and all the white colors are blank areas. So nothing is available in that white area, but something is available in that yellow area or shaded area. Okay, so here what we are going to do is we have segregated this into 8 cross 8 segment. Okay, so how are we going to represent the data? Okay, we can't represent all the cell values available at a single time. So if a data is having some content or some objects, then that is marked as 1. If that cell doesn't have any content, then that value is marked as 0. Okay, that's all, just in binary values. If it has any value, it is 1. If it doesn't have any value, then it is 0. Okay, so row 1, the first row, it is being mentioned as 0 0 0 0 1 followed by 3 zeros, which means that only in the fifth cell data is available. Correct. So in fifth cell, if the data is available, only the fifth cell is marked as 1 and the remaining slots are marked as 0. Okay, so this is cell by cell encoding part. Okay, so similarly for row 2, the first 4 cells are empty, 0 comma 0 comma 0 comma 0, and then 2 cells are filled, so which is given as 1 1, and finally the last 2 cells are 0, which means the 2 cells are empty. Okay, so this is one thing. And similarly for row 4, row 5, row 6, row 7 and all the cells with the which has been shaded in yellow color is being marked as 1, and all the cell which doesn't mark any colors is being marked as 0. Row 8, there is not even a single cell marked in any colors, so the entire row is given as 0. Okay, so this is called as cell by cell encoding part. Okay, so in vector data structure we have seen arc, lines and points, arcs and polygons. That representation we have seen. So here we have seen grid. We are going to represent a complete grid or a cell structure in a database format, right? So this is how we are done. The first technique is called as cell by cell encoding technique. Okay, so it is very simple. All the cells which is having some data will be given as 1, and all the areas which is not having any shaded part will be having the value as 0. Okay, this is cell by cell encoding part. Okay, this is a same example, similar example. Okay, so can you crack this code actually? How this value is being given? Obviously, we are going to assign some values for the shaded part, and we are not going to assign any value for the unshaded part. Correct? So can you crack this code? How row 1 is equal to 5? That you everybody knows. Okay. So row 1 only the cell 5 is being shaded, and in row 2 cell 5 and cell 6 is being shaded. So we are giving the answer as 5 and 6. Okay, let's assume like that. For row 3 it is 4 comma 6. How is that? So here what they are trying to do is run length encoding 4 to 6. Very good, ma. Very good, Anjali. So here they are giving the starting point and the ending point. The from to node, similar to that arc and polygon structure. Can you understand? Okay. So here they are converting this geographic information system. Okay. They are converting the spatial data into a grid format, into a raster format, and that raster format it means encoded into a database. Okay. So the first cell, it doesn't have a starting point or ending point. Both the starting point and ending point are same, 5 comma 5. So that's why for row 1 they have given the value as 5. For second row they have given the starting value as 5 and ending value as 6. Similarly, third row 4 comma 6. Okay, and fifth one, row number 5, from second cell to sixth cell it is being shaded. So for row number 5 the answer is 2 comma 6. Okay, and similarly for row 6 and 7, both from second cell only the first and last column are left empty. So from second cell till seventh cell it is being shaded. Okay, so now the last line, okay, the row number 8. Okay, so this I have noted it initially. So what happens is in row number 8, okay, in row number 8 let's assume we know that nothing is being shaded. Okay, so here I have marked a few cells alone. I have marked cell number 2, cell number 4, cell number 5 and cell number 7. So if there is no continuation between the structured areas, then how can we mark these areas? Okay, so we can mark it as 3 different areas. Like for example, in the row 8, okay, the second cell in row 8, the second cell is being shaded or crossed. Okay, so when I am taking that cell alone in particular, then the starting point and ending point of that cell will be 2 only. It is starting from 2 and it is ending from 2. Correct? And the next part, the fourth cell is being shaded and the fifth cell is being shaded. Correct? So where the starting point will be cell 4 and the ending part will be cell 5. Okay, and the last part, the cell 7 is separately shaded. So the starting point is cell 7 is 7 and the ending part is also 7. So the starting and ending point is same. So for row 8 the shaded part will be mentioned as 2, 4, 5 and 7. In 3 segments it will be represented. Okay, so this is called as run length coding. Okay, so can you understand the difference between cell by cell encoding and run length coding? So this is what it is all about. And this is also another structure actually. Okay, so this is how both the blank spaces and the shaded spaces is being marked. Okay, I will tell you the first one. So here the red area is being the marked area and the white area is the unmarked area, or it doesn't have any area at all. Okay, sorry. So what we are going to do is the first row, okay, from 0 to 8 it is the same color or the same area. So we are just segregating the areas over here. So first row is completely of a single area 0, 8. But in second row we can find 3 areas available. One white area with 4 cells, one red area with 3 cells, and one white area again with 1 cell. So that is how we are mentioning it as 0, 4, 1, 3 and 0, 1, which means that 0 is available in the first 4 cells, 1 is available in the next 3 cells, and again 0 is available in the last 1 cell. Okay, similarly for row number 3, okay, for row number 3, 0 is marked for the first 3 cells, 1 is marked for the next 4 cells, and 0 was marked for the last one cell. Okay. Similarly, 0 comma for row number 4, 0 comma 2, 1 comma 5, and 0 comma 1. Okay. Similarly, for row number 5, row number 6, and row number 7. What will be for row number 7? 0 comma 4 indicates that the first 4 cells are of 0 value and doesn't have any other value, and 1 value is given for the next 2 elements and 0 is given for the last 2 elements. Okay, this is one type of encoding part with both the shaded area and the unshaded areas. Okay, and quad tree data structure, this is similar to a data structure. This quad tree we will see it in the next class, not to worry. Okay, I'll just tell you what is what. We will be dividing the entire component into 4 quadrants. Okay, so if it is a 8 cross 8 matrix or 8 cross 8 cells, 4 cross 4 we will be dividing it into 4 segments. The first segment, second segment, third segment, and fourth segment in a U shape. Okay, in a U direction. This we will see it in the next class. Okay, so with this we will wind up today's session. Okay, students, if you have any doubts, you can post your doubts in the chat box. So far we have seen what is vector data structure. Under vector data structure we have seen point representation, line representation, and polygon representation. Then we have seen what is raster data structure. In under raster data structure we have seen the several types of encoding, like cell by cell encoding, run length encoding, block encoding, chain encoding, and quad tree encoding. So in that we have seen what is run length encoding and cell by cell encoding. Other 3 we will see it in the next class. So in next class we will be seeing block encoding, chain encoding, quad tree, and then we will be seeing the comparison between the raster and vector data structure, and then we will be moving on to the TIN and grid models. Okay, students, if you have any doubts, you can post your doubts in the chat box. And this was a question asked initially. So if you know the answers, you can post your answers in the chat box. Leelavati, very good. Any other answers? Good, good. Venkata Sivashankar, Anjali, Kirti, Soumya, good answers. I strongly believe you guys will shine very well in the placements in final years. All the best for you guys. And yes, the correct answer is 480, correct. And we have to consider all the animals as a separate variable like A, B, C, D, and we have to sum up all the equations clubbed together. We will be getting the values of a camel, and the goat value is 20. So similarly, each value will be changing on. So the final answer is the value of camel is 480, correct. So in next class with another puzzle, we will meet in the webinar session. Okay. Thank you for your cooperation. We will meet in the next webinar class. Thank you, students. You can leave the session right now.